Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Ohio.
The sun is shining. It's a picture-perfect day for baseball on one of baseball's cathedrals, Wrigley Field, the site of Game 2 of a 3-game set between the Reds and the Cubs, and it's coming up on Fox Sports Ohio. And hi again, everyone, with the Cowboy, Jeff Brantley. I'm Jim Day. Thanks for spending part of your Saturday with us. Reds will go after even up the series at a game apiece, and Joey Votto, home run here yesterday. And when he came back from the disabled list, he said, I'm no longer giving in to my age. I've made a mechanical tweak. You're going to see more power out of me the rest of the season. We've seen it.
Well, the mechanical tweak that was amazing was the ball that he pulled against the Padres. Power in a slam situation, and boy, did he get all of that one. And it almost seemed as though that was the swing that broke the ice for Votto, because now he's back to his regular swing, driving the ball to center field, left field power as we saw last night. That's the Joey Votto that we're used to seeing.
And for the Cubs, for whatever reason, Ian Happ has absolutely had the Reds number.
Well, I think playing in Cincinnati in college, he's used to the town, wants to play good against folks that are from his home front. But when you walk 18 times, sooner or later you've got to see a fastball. And when he's seen fastballs, he has destroyed them.
Difference in the game here last night was that 3-run opposite field home run, as the Reds will go after a victory here today. And we've got a special treat coming up in inning number 3. Bronson Arroyo will join us in the booth. A couple of southpaws go to the hill. Reds and Cubs moments away.
Is brought to you by Chevy. Check out our award-winning lineup only at your Tri-State Chevy dealers. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good? It's Skyline time.
Jack.
Well, a beautiful day here at Wrigley Field, and Jose Peraza has had a fantastic season this year. Not only is he hitting over 290, has more than 50 RBI on the season, but he also has 12 home runs, and he has done a great job there in the 1 or 2 hole. As a matter of fact, it's our Elk and Elk storylines for tonight's game. Jose Peraza's 12 home runs this season in just 144 games. In his first 3 seasons of his career, he had 8 home runs in 222 games. He's also homered in back-to-back games for the 4th time in his career. He's done that 3 times this season. And he is right back there in the 2 hole after hitting that home run yesterday. 12 homers, 54 RBI to go along with that 292 average, guys.
Pick, thank you very much. There's Jose Peraza. And as Pick said, we'll be batting in the 2 spot. Here's how Jim Riggleman will send him out today. Billy Hamilton in the leadoff spot. No Scott Schebler in the starting lineup today. Then it's Peraza, Votto, Suarez, Phillip Ervin in left field. Tucker Barnhart behind the plate. Dilson Herrera gets the start at second base in favor of Scooter Gennett against the lefty John Lester. Brandon Dixon in right, and the pitcher Cody Reed batting 9th. Always a tough test when you face John Lester, and he's in his windup, and the first pitch is in for a called strike. We are underway from Wrigley.
Well, it bodes well for Jim Riggleman to have Hamilton in the top of the order against Lester. He has had some success, quite a bit of success, I might add, against John Lester.
Hitting .364 in his career off of Lester and 2 home runs.
John Lester is making his 30th start here in 2018. In my mind, that is saying something.
Well, you want to talk about longevity and success. He is the full package.
This is now 11 consecutive years that he has made 30 starts or more. That is getting it done.
And when you think about today's baseball, it truly is a feat. In fact, he's the only pitcher in the majors to accomplish it.
Well, when Bronson comes up, we'll ask him about it.
Yeah.
That was Bronson's really key to his career, was his ability to be an Iron Man.
You certainly want to be an innings eater as a pitcher, and we can match that with success. Well, you're talking about an all-timer. 5-time All-Star is John Lester, including this season. 3-time World Series champion in his 4th season in a Cubs uniform. And he's run the count full to Billy Hamilton.
What's amazing is when you watch Lester, his mechanics are the same today as they were 11 years ago. They are very simple. He simplifies the mechanics, gets his hand in the same spot every time, and his body follows.
Payoff pitch, and fouled out of play. Lester now 34 years of age, born in Tacoma, Washington. Originally a 2nd-round pick of the Red Sox back in 2002. Do the 3-2 again, and here it comes. And Hamilton again fouls it off.
And last I checked, John Lester has never thrown the ball 98 or 100 miles an hour.
No.
He spots the ball in, out, up, down. He reads your swing, and he pitches accordingly.
It's his 16th career start against the Reds, all in a Cubs uniform. And in his 15 previous starts, the Cubs are 13-2, including winners of his last 3 starts.
You never get the feeling that John Lester is out of control as far as his physical mechanics go.
Down goes Hamilton.
Fastball up and away. That top part of the strike zone, right over the outside corner.
And a meeting at home plate. It looks like the catcher Wilson Contreras has something in the eyes, and that'll bring out the trainer. As we check out the 4 defensive lineup for the Cubs. Around the outfield, Happ in left field for this one. Almora Jr. getting the start in center, and Chris Bryant, who started in left yesterday, in right field today. Continuing that versatility that we've seen. Bodie at third base. Addison Russell the start at shortstop. Moves Baez to second. Caratini getting the start at first base. So no Anthony Rizzo in the lineup today against the lefty Cody Reed. So it appears all is well with Contreras.
We've got both managers trying to load up their lineups with right-handed batters because of the left-handed starting issue with Reed and Lester.
Only Votto and the pitcher Cody Reed will bat from the left-hand side against John Lester. And for the Cubs, they will only send one lefty batter to the plate, that being John Lester. 9-game hitting streak for Peraza, longest in the National League. And included in that 9-game hitting streak, 6 multi-hit games for Peraza.
I would imagine for Lester in this ball game, he's not going to give Peraza a pitch in on the plate that he can handle. It'll either be up and in, and he'll try to cut it in there as he did that pitch, or he'll backdoor cutter and change up or fastball away. That ball that has been middle in here lately, Peraza has just dominated.
He's homered in back-to-back games, has Peraza. He has never homered in 3 straight. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The 2-2. And back-to-back batters, a full count against Lester.
Of course, for a pitcher, Jim, when you eliminate a certain side of the plate or a specific spot in the strike zone, it almost makes you try to be a little bit too careful. And that looks how Lester has pitched Peraza here.
Bodie, bare hand, not going to get the speedy Peraza. That'll be an infield base hit. And a 10-game hitting streak for Peraza.
Now, I think when you watch Peraza run, you would think to yourself, well, he's fast, but he's not like that fast. But yet on a play like that, you look up, you look at the ball, it's hit to third base. By the time Bodie gets the baseball, Peraza's already past the bag and dusting off his uniform.
Votto at the plate, and now the interesting sequence with a runner on first base and Lester on the mound. It has been well documented of the yips that he has thrown over. I talked to a lot of Reds players about, they talk about Lester having the yips and, hey, why don't you get this huge lead? Well, the equalizer's behind the plate, and Wilson Contreras, he will back pick as good as anyone in baseball. And Lester's best friend in this regard.
Well, you can get the big lead, but you better go.
Yeah.
Because if you get caught out there in no man's land, you're back in the dugout, because Contreras will snap throw in a hurry.
Peraza indeed a big lead at first base. And a called strike, 2 balls and a strike to Votto.
Lester does vary his times as far as set and coming to the plate. It's not as though he sets, goes, sets, goes. He'll set and he'll stare right at you.
3-1 to Votto. Votto himself riding a 6-game hitting streak coming in to today's play. 2-2.
Most of the time when we've seen Lester, Jimmy, it takes him a little bit of time to work into his groove, but once he is there, very difficult to get to him.
Even bigger lead for Peraza this time. 22 steals and 28 attempts for Jose. A long look over by Lester. There goes Peraza. Throw from Contreras offline. And steal number 23 for Peraza.
It looked as though the body of Contreras, as he made the catch at the plate, was moving a bit towards the third base dugout instead of getting his feet set quickly to be able to throw a strike to second. As he moved towards the third base dugout, his hand got away from his head and the ball sailed back towards second base, or back towards right field, when he threw it.
Payoff to Votto and another classic foul off on purpose.
Votto has had 3 of those types of alligator arm foul offs here in this at bat. Matter of fact, the first pitch of the at bat was that kind of pull the hands in right around the belt and just foul it off.
Votto, a .339 batter with runners in scoring position. Another big lead at second base for Peraza, and a grounder to the right side. This will get Peraza to third. Second out of the inning. That'll bring up Eugenio Suarez. He's the focus of our IGS, bringing the energy. Career versus Lester, .323 batter, 3 doubles, 3 home runs, which is the most home runs versus any pitcher in his career, and 7 RBIs. Per usual, he has to lead baseball in blowing bubbles as well. It's not an official stat. I'm just throwing it out there.
The part that gets me about blowing the bubbles is he's blowing a bubble as he's fielding the baseball and throwing to first. Now, I've not seen him blow a bubble and swing at the same time.
I've seen him mid defensive play. Easy play for Bryant. Infield single, man left. Cubs coming up at Wrigley. Central Division title. And here's his lineup today. Albert Almora Jr. will lead off today. Chris Bryant back in the 2 spot. Javier Baez in those 103 RBIs batting third. David Bodie in the cleanup spot today. Addison Russell back in the starting lineup at shortstop. Contreras behind the plate. Caratini at first. The pitcher spot is the 8th spot, and Ian Happ batting 9th. For the Reds, it's Cody Reed, 25 years of age in his 3rd major league season. 15th appearance and 5th start of the season. 4th start in his career against the Cubs. And the first pitch to Almora Jr. is fielded by Peraza, an easy 1 out. Here's your 4 defensive lineup for the Reds. Phillip Ervin in left, Hamilton patrolling center field, Brandon Dixon getting the start in right. Votto, Herrera, Peraza, Suarez at third base. Barnhart hanging the signs for Cody Reed. Dilson Herrera in place of Scooter Gennett against the lefty John Lester. In his natural position, that being second base.
Dixon has played everywhere this year except for shortstop, center field, and catcher. And yes, he has pitched and did pretty good, I might add.
Yeah, a couple times. 0-1, and quickly ahead, no balls and 2 strikes on Bryant. The Cubs come in a game and a half clear of Milwaukee in the Central. 86-61 record. And that is the best record in the National League.
Isn't that amazing? You have the best record in the National League, but yet you only lead your division by 1.
That's how good the Brewers have been down the stretch. Swing and a miss. Woo. Good start for Cody Reed.
It was nasty. Watch this slider from Cody Reed. Looks like it starts over the outside corner. Not only does it have great sweep and bite to it, but it goes straight down.
And when you look at a pitch like that and an at-bat like that against one of the league's best hitters, it shows you those flashes of what you hope to see consistently with Cody Reed. But he's one of those head scratchers, has never been able to fully put it together.
Well, the problem for most guys that have a great pitch like that or show brilliance on the mound, you have to figure out a way to get ahead in the count. Yep. Because that way you have the hitter eating out of your hand rather than the hitter guessing that you have to throw a strike.
1-1 to Javier Baez, who continues to have a brilliant season with the Cubs. 31 bombs, 103 RBIs to lead the National League. And he became just the 5th Cub to record a 30-homer, 100 RBI campaign before the age of 25. Joining some elite company: Ernie Banks, Chris Bryant, Anthony Rizzo, Ron Santo. And never gets cheated at the plate, mind you. He plays, as you might say, with his hair on fire at all times.
Well, it's interesting to watch how far Baez is from the plate. Not a big guy in stature, but he looks to me that he's further away from the plate than even Chris Bryant, who may be a good 3 or 4 inches taller than him with much more arm reach. But when you watch Baez close up to the plate, he gets that front shoulder where it needs to be to make contact, even with an outside pitch.
Strike 3 called. Bruce Dreckman rings him up. And a 1-2-3 first for Cody Reed. since August 16th. 2.70 ERA. It's second best in all of Major League Baseball. And prior to August 16th, 4.21. So quite the difference, and turning it up at the right time. And when you match that against the NL best bullpen at 3.34, thus the best record in the National League. John Lester threw 25 pitches in inning number 1. He'll get Irvin, Barnhart, Herrera here in the second.
Well, the Cubs bullpen will be tested to its nth degree here over the last couple of weeks. No Pedro Strop. Brandon Morrow's not back yet. And both of those guys have been your strongholds there in the 9th inning.
Brandon Morrow out with a right biceps inflammation.
Of course, they say he's getting close.
Yep. Yu Darvish out for the season. Jason Hayward on the DL. One thing about this Cubs team, they've got some depth, and they have shown it. And threw out Jorge De La Rosa to get his first career save last night. Down goes Irvin. Second strikeout for Lester.
Fastball up, well out of the strike zone. Irvin looking for fastball as soon as he steps into the batter's box. But it seems like the scouting report is out now. Dead red fastball hitter. I'm going to throw you anything but early in the count, and then I'm going to throw that high heater late.
Off-speed breaking ball in for a strike to Tucker Barnhart.
And that's exactly what the Cubs did to Irvin last night. 3 strikeouts in that ball game.
It is a postcard kind of day here in Chicago. Game time temperature 78 degrees. Not a single cloud in the sky.
That would be pretty with a U.
And not much wind to speak of. Very light wind is blowing in, but not the normal wind here at Wrigley. And packing them in here.
Oh.
Here today on a perfect weather day. And he talked to opposing, not just the Reds, but just opposing players. And this is one of the favorite stops on the circuit because of the atmosphere. Bodie, nice dig by Caratini. Those long hops are a lot harder at first base than the short hop.
Bodie moving to his left, never quite gets his body squared up or shoulders squared up with first base. Momentum taking him towards second base as he made the throw, and he just got right over the top of it. That would have been a pretty good sinker if he'd have been on the mound.
2-out batter Dilson Herrera. Herrera just a 179 batter. 3 home runs, 8 RBIs, getting the spot start today.
The only thing about having Herrera and Dixon in the lineup against a veteran pitcher like Lester, Lester counts on his repetitions of facing you in the past, recognizing your swing and making adjustments. When you've got young hitters like Herrera and Dixon, that's a deficit for Lester, at least for the first couple of times you come to the plate, because he doesn't know exactly what you're looking for until you swing.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Full count. Lester wanted that one, but off the plate, says Bruce Dreckman. Dreckman behind home plate, Mike Estabrook, he said, at first base. Crew chief Hunter Windelstedt at second. John Lipka down at third. The payoff. Strike 3 called. 2 strikeouts in the inning. Middle of the second, scoreless.
Help the American Red Cross provide meals and shelter to those families. Donate today by going to redcross.org or text Florence to 90999. You'll give $10 to the American Red Cross Hurricane Relief. And again, those families are really hurting down there with all that water damage and wind damage. It's going to be a long time before they can come back, Jim.
Indeed it is. Our thoughts continue to be with those affected and in the path. Mother Nature comes a calling. We are blessed here today. David Bodie, Addison Russell, Wilson Contreras to face Cody Reed in the second. It was a 1-2-3 first for Reed, including a couple of strikeouts.
Pretty good changeup by Reed right there. Great arm action. Ball right in the middle of the strike zone. Bodie sees it as a fastball, swings right over the top of it.
One-two pitch.
Seeing a lot more of that backdoor slider from Cody Reed than we saw when he first appeared his first few times, as a matter of fact, coming up to the big leagues.
Votto backs up to get the good hop. 2 outs. 1 out, excuse me. Confident look in the eyes of Cody Reed when you just look at body language, etc. Obviously 4 up and 4 down will help you, but so far looking pretty good.
Just make pitches.
Yep.
Forget about the names on the back of the jersey. Just look at the mitt. Execute your pitch.
And here's Addison Russell. Russell now with Daniel Murphy coming over in a trade, and Baez the season he's having. A lot less playing time now, with most of the shortstop duties going to Baez and Murphy at second base. against the lefty Reed here today. Murphy on the bench, Rizzo on the bench. Strike 3 called.
Backdoor slider again.
3 of them for Cody Reed.
It's at the top of the strike zone, but it's in the strike zone nonetheless. It starts off the plate and comes back to the plate. That first time through the lineup, hitters give up on that pitch, and they've done that 3 times here in the early going.
Well, I asked you before the game, with all these righties that are going to face Cody Reed, does he have the pitch sequence or a pitch to get righties out?
And what was my answer?
The backdoor slider.
And that was what he threw for strike 1 here to Wilson Contreras. Back-to-back backdoor sliders. That slider starts off the plate. It looks like a fastball. It looks like a ball, and then comes right back to the outside edge.
Shakes off Barnhart, and now Barnhart setting up outside. That's where he puts it. 1-2.
Change up that time.
Two balls and 2 strikes.
Control your mechanics and your adrenaline on the mound and your thought process. Command the baseball with your fingers.
Coming up in the 3rd, we're going to have a treat. 2 pitchers in the booth. Count them 2. That would be the Cowboy Jeff Brantley, and we'll be joined by Bronson Arroyo, who is in the yard today. Payoff pitch. Hammered into left. First hit off of Cody Reed.
It's one of those spots for Reed where he got ahead 0-2. Tried to get a little too cute with the pitches after getting 0-2. You run the count to 3-2. Now you've got to come into the strike zone, and Contreras makes him pay for it. You get 0-2 quick, keep the hitter on the defensive.
First pitch to Victor Caratini is way inside and low. Caratini 1 for 4 here in last night's game. Singled in the 7th and scored. He was one of the guys aboard when Ian Happ sent an opposite field home run the opposite way in the Department of Redundancy department. 3-run home run. And the 1-1 tied him up inside.
Backdoor slider for a strike, and then he comes down and in with a slider, and that's the pitch that has always been a great pitch for Cody Reed to a right-hander. The slider that starts in the middle, it breaks towards the back foot of the batter with extreme break.
Pretty good idea, but Caratini lays off.
Just didn't quite get it back to the plate.
Shakes off Barnhart a couple of times. Now has what he wants. 2-2.
I think if you watch Cody Reed on the mound, as he releases the ball, if you see his hand go back up into the air, that's a recoil. It's not a finish. When he is on his best game, you don't see the hand come back up into the air and his body going back towards second base. Now that finish makes you feel like you're throwing the ball real hard or real good, It's a false sense of security. See the finish there? All the way to the plate. Knee up. A little bit of a rock back to the plate. And you see the arm there. You don't see the arm come flying way up over his head. He will do that. And when he does, the ball usually sails on him because he doesn't finish.
Two again. Full count. He does have the pitcher John Lester on deck. But would love Lester to lead off the next half inning. Runner going, and a tapper again foul at the plate.
Well, if you're Cody Reed and you feel confident about your ability, you want this out here of Caratini. You'd love to have Lester leading off the third inning.
Three-two, 2 outs. Runner at first will be on the move again. And again, a foul ball. And Caratini and Reed, pretty good battle. 9 pitch at bat so far. Hit him. Gonna do that, just do it on the first pitch.
Totally overthrew that pitch.
Yeah. All right, first and second now, and John Lester at the plate.
Look, there was a point in time where Lester, he couldn't smell a hit.
Well, he has a home run this season, 9 RBIs.
But in these types of situations, he's been much more difficult as a hitter to face.
He's the only lefty that Reed will face in the starting lineup today. At least a batter that will hit from the left-hand side. Ian Happ on deck's a switch hitter. No bad righty against him, obviously. 1-0. Two balls and a strike. Two and two.
Start the slider high enough to get it into the eyes. The eyesight, I should say, of Lester, and then just break it off the plate.
Two pitch. Strike 3 called. Bronson Arroyo's in the house, joining us next. And Cubs with the Cowboy Jeff Bradley. I'm Jim Day, and we are, well, it's our pleasure to be joined by former Red Bronson Arroyo in the house. How we doing?
I'm doing good. Hanging out.
I understand. You just told us you were on what? A 3,000-mile car trip?
Yeah, I left Florida, stopping through, seeing a bunch of friends I haven't seen in like 20 years, and we're playing golf along the way, and just happened to see the Reds were in town. I got a couple high school buddies here, so we figured we'd stop through Wrigley and catch a ball game.
How is your golf game?
Oh, it's been bad. I mean, I'm making Charles Barkley look like he's as consistent as Freddie Couples.
There you go.
That means it's not good.
Now, were you hanging out with the bleacher creatures out there earlier before the game?
No, you know what? My skin's not dark enough yet. I ain't got a good enough tan going yet. I'm in the shade behind
You get
home
burnt
plate.
out there.
That's right.
Well, was this did you like pitching at Wrigley?
Yeah, I loved it here. I mean, I think you enjoy places that you have success. And if I had gotten beat around this ballpark with the wind blowing out, you'd probably say, oh, I hate pitching here. But,
right.
You know, I enjoyed pitching in this ballpark and at home in Cincinnati. They're both small places to pitch. But, you know, when you get comfortable out on the mound, you get a couple of wins under your belt, you feel like it's home.
Got some good high grass on the infield in this ballpark.
Yeah, well, it's changed. I remember when I was a rookie, when I was with the Pirates, I remember you could sit in the dugout and you couldn't see the outfielder's feet.
Yeah.
Because there was such a swell out there, and it was a totally different playing surface then. It wasn't nearly as true. It was much harder to.
You know when you say stuff like that, you make us look old. You know that, right?
Well, I'm getting old. You
I've
getting
been
real,
old.
or you've been old.
Brandon Dixon at the plate for the Reds. It'll be Dixon, the pitcher, Cody Reed, Billy Hamilton.
I've got a question for you, Bronson. You're watching John Lester, and you did this the majority of your career. 30 starts for Lester in 11 consecutive years. Tell me what it takes to do something like that. You know.
Yeah, it's mostly just the preparation. You know, it's what's going on between your ears. I mean, just thinking about this game on a 12-month. You know, you just don't get 4 months off in the off season. You're thinking about it pretty much every month except October, unless you're in the playoffs. And you know, your day-to-day, your 5-day routine is just really locked down, from what you eat to your workouts. You know, traveling. You know, the people that are traveling with you and how you take care of your business at home. It's just all these fine details you're trying to pick up along the way, and you need a little bit of luck as well. You got to not get hit by the line drive. You know, you can't tear your rotator cuff, obviously. You know, there's a little bit of luck involved here, but to go out there on a day-to-day basis and really be that consistent, it's going to take a consistent program.
Well, you know all about John Lester.
Oh, yeah.
As a player, as a guy, and been through the wars together.
Yeah, he was in the minor leagues with the Red Sox when we had the same agent way back. He was at the very first time that I ever performed in an open mic night in a little restaurant in Fort Myers, Florida.
Get out of town.
Come on.
Me, John Lester, and my agent Terry Bross. Yeah, and
Open mic.
open mic.
Did he have hair? Did he have hair like you back then?
Yeah, he had more hair than he has now. That's for sure. But you know, I didn't know John back then. Really, you know, he had just been drafted.
Yeah.
And you know, hard to predict he'd be such a fantastic. I mean, I don't know if he's probably what 40, 50, 60 games over 500. I mean, he's got an unbelievable record. He's just consistent year after year. He pounds the zone. He's a competitor. You know, he's got all the intangibles you'd want to have a big league pitcher last for 15, 20 years.
How's his singing? How was his singing?
Oh, Johnny singing?
Yeah.
Well, he's a country boy. He loves to play the guitar. Him and David Ross would pick it a little bit, and Kristen Norfia as well. But I don't know if in the singing department if they got what it takes to parlay that.
How's Bronson singing?
Mine's doing just fine. I've been working hard, playing a bunch of shows. We got a gig in Cincinnati on November 9th at Bogart's. It's going to be a nice time. We're going to play for 2 hours, a full-on rock show. And
Really? All right. What's that date again?
November 9th. Yeah, we're playing. We'll be doing a bunch of Pearl Jam and Stone Temple Pilots and REM and Tom Petty, and you know, it takes some preparation for that. I'm starting to figure out that if you want to sing for 2 hours, you better be in shape.
No doubt.
You can pull off an hour, but to do 2, it's going to dig deep a little bit, or you better be singing every other night.
November 9th at Bogart's. I got to put that on my.
So no chance of any country in any of your shows?
No, if you catch me with just an acoustic guitar by myself, there's a good chance I'll play you some country. But with the full band, I'm with a bunch of old school rockers, man, and I gotta talk them into playing anything that's a radio hit. I mean, they want to play stuff I never heard of, just getting after.
Oh boy.
Well, the out in center field, there is some, you can see where there's some new grass planted. Your guys Pearl Jam recently played here as Billy Hamilton shoots one into center field, and a diving catch by Almora. Robs Hamilton. Stick around with us a little bit.
Oh yeah, we'll be here.
All right, back with more Bronson Arroyo. Albert Almora Jr. robs Billy Hamilton. It was a nice tribute from the Cubs, final game of the season, and the final time we saw Bronson Arroyo in a Reds uniform. That had to be a nice little tribute to you that day.
Yeah, that was a surprise. You know, I didn't know that was coming until that day, and you know, kudos to Theo Epstein for being so kind to me. I think that was his payback. That was just a little bit for trading me in
Trade you
in
away.
06.
So what do you miss now? What do you miss?
I think I miss one is hanging out with the guys. You know, that's why I come down in Cincinnati and hang out in the clubhouse, because, you know, just being around the boys is the boys club, as Kevin Millar would call it, is where a lot of the action and the fun is.
Yeah.
But also just getting an opportunity to compete. I mean, standing out on that mound, as you know, Jeff, is just you're not going to replicate that in anything else in your life, where there's 30,000-40,000 people watching you perform on a level that
No adrenaline like that, huh?
No, you know, and I think I probably supplement that with the music, because I do get nervous and you do get adrenaline
Right.
being on the stage, but it's not the same. You know, if you were standing in center field like Pearl Jam was the other night, then that's a different ball game. But playing small clubs and stuff is not going to give you the adrenaline that a major league. You know, when you're a 5- and 6-year-old kid and you've been dreaming of doing this, and then you get to do it, it's something it's so special. It's hard to replace it.
You talked about being around the clubbies, and you held true to a promise where you said, I'm going to come back one day and I'm going to clean spikes.
Yeah, that's
Not
right.
just one or two. I'm going to grind it out. And you did a few times.
Yeah, I'm still probably got a D for performance from Rick Stowe down there, but yeah, you know, I used to say that stuff to guys, and I think they look at me like I was crazy, and they didn't think I'd come back. But you know, I mean, the clubhouse guys, you understand that ownership changes, managers change, players change, and the guys that run the clubhouse are there year after year, a lot of times for 30 years, and they're all salt of the earth. Just great people that you want to hang out with, and I really enjoy going down there and spending time with them. And when I was in spring training, you know, Barry Larkin and Eric Davis were giving me the stuff, because they're like, man, you've been out on the field, you're supposed to be out here coaching, and you're over there cleaning shoes. You haven't even been out here but about 20 minutes. And I feel much more comfortable with the clubhouse guys just cleaning up the shoes and passing out the laundry than I do trying to tell somebody how to pitch.
That's beautiful. You also took them on a trip years back, I believe, didn't you?
Yeah, we
Costa Rica or
took
something?
them to Costa Rica for a little surfing and some zip lining. Yeah.
See, now that's big league when a guy will just reach out. I mean, let's face it, the clubbies are your average Joe guys. Not making a ton of money in the game, and you to take them on a trip to Costa Rica says a lot about you.
See, that's the difference between you and I, because if I'm going to Costa Rica, I'm going peacock bass fishing. You're going surfing. You know, maybe that has something to do with the South and really getting South Florida.
That's probably, well, we did do a little marlin and sail fishing.
Did you?
So we caught a couple of tuna and a couple of mahi. So we did a little bit of that. You know, Tim Hellman working down there, obviously in the Cubs clubhouse today. He was with us on that trip too.
He's a champ.
I'm hoping he's going to give me some of his playoff share this year for taking him on that trip.
A 4-pitch walk to Albert Almora Jr. And now Cody Reed will have to deal with Chris Bryant. First walk given up by Reed. Reed's got 5 strikeouts and 2 in the third.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot, big boy. What does pitching have to change as far as our teaching to get guys that can pitch like Lester and like you did deeper into the ball game? What have we got to change? Because we're heading in a bad direction.
Yeah, I think honestly, you know, we talk about guys that we got harder throws than we've ever had, right? Bigger, stronger kids come up, and what we're trying to get them to do is have feel, to be able to throw strikes and to be able to take their foot off the gas pedal and still get outs, right? So if that's what we're doing, we need to make these guys understand that at the minor league level, that 5 innings, 6 innings is not the end of the race. Because if you want a guy to start the race slower, if we're running a marathon, you say, hey, don't burn yourself out early, then you would want them to know that the race is longer, right? So if I say, you know, we're an A ball, you're going to be a starting pitcher, you're going to go out there and you are going to have the ball until my eyes and the atmosphere of the game and the score and everything dictates I pull you out of the game, then you'll start thinking on a 9-inning basis. That means you're going to start the race slower. These guys in the minor leagues now, they think 5 innings is the end of the rope because that's when they pull them out all the time.
That's so their 100-pitch mark.
Yes, so they're going to start the game, come out of the blocks, you know, like a bull in a china shop, which means you're throwing more max effort. You're having less feel, less command, less ability to change speeds on your off-speed stuff. And so I think you're creating a monster before they ever get here because these guys don't know how to just back it down and still get out.
We're teaching throwing, not pitching.
Right. And it's always been that way. I mean, that's obviously been the hardest thing in baseball overall, is to teach someone how to have feel and how to try to get outs with stuff that's not max effort. But now that guys are throwing so much harder, and it's almost like we just continue to perpetuate the problem by saying, hey, we're going to keep watching the radar gun, and now it's 95 and now it's 100, but can you get through the 7th inning with 105 pitches? That's what you want to do. And so I would say at the minor league level, we let guys pitch deeper into ball games, and we ask them to start the game not at max effort. If you remember 2010, Edinson Volquez started that game against Roy Halladay in Philly when he threw the no-hitter against us. And Edinson was not ready for that atmosphere at that time. He came out of the gate throwing 100 miles an hour in the first inning, and by the end of the first inning, he was gassed. It was game, set, match immediately. Yep. And what you need is guys who can go out there, who can suppress the anxiety, suppress the adrenaline that's flowing, and try to get outs early in the ball game with a little bit less than your best stuff. And then you'll have something left in the end of the 6th inning and into the 7th. And when you get guys who can do that, then you'll get those quality starts. And when you get a team who has 90 quality starts, that's when you're competing for a championship, not a team that has 55 to 60.
Swing and a miss. Down goes Bryant.
Could not have said it better.
2 strikeouts in the inning for Cody Reed.
It's the one change that we've seen from Cody Reed since he's come back up. Backdoor slider. All of his sliders earlier were down and into righties or down and away from lefties. Now he's putting it on both sides of the plate, starting to find a little bit of that feel you were talking about.
Right. Yeah, that's a page out of Lester's book right there, right?
Oh,
he lives out there all day. And then that is the truth of it is that it takes a while to get comfortable at the big league level. I didn't come up and dominate right away. You know, it took me 3 years of bouncing around from the bullpen to the starting rotation to AAA until I finally got to Boston, where I felt comfortable enough in my own skin to pitch. And sometimes we all also think maybe like the music industry is like you want someone to have a hit immediately, and you're not willing to ride it out and give them a little bit of
drive the other way, and foul ball.
So sometimes patience from the organizational standpoint can help as well. But, you know, I think the one thing that's true is if you're a strike thrower in the minor leagues or you're a strike thrower in high school, you're a strike thrower in the big leagues, right? And so you also got to pay attention to the guys that you're drafting and make sure that they're not just equipped with a fantastic arm and that they have control issues. Because guys that have control issues when they're 18, they have control issues when they're 30. It's, you know, the feel isn't something that can be taught. I think you can improve it, but I don't know that it can be taught to the level of, if it could, then I think a guy like Shaquille O'Neal could have been a great free throw shooter
right.
if he shot as many shots as John Stockton, right? But it doesn't tend to happen, and there's something
Exactly.
built into the machine.
3 solid innings from Cody Reed. You got more in you? Want to stick around?
Sure.
More with Bronson Arroyo when we come back. Fox Sports Ohio is brought to you by your local Ford dealer. Ford, go further. And by Cincinnati Children's, now ranked number 2 in the nation by U.S. News and World Report. Back in Chi-Town with Jeff Brantley, I'm Jim Day. We're joined in the booth by Bronson Arroyo. As John Lester will get Peraza, Votto, Suarez here in the 4th scoreless game. Game 2 of 3, and those shadows are going to start wreaking havoc here. A mid-afternoon start, 3:05 start local time in Chicago, and now those shadows have crept past home plate, and the pitcher in bright sunshine. Did you use that to your advantage when that would happen, or did you even think about it?
You didn't think about it a whole lot. If you started the game like that, you'd have a lot of the hitters saying that they couldn't see, but you never trust it. You go out there and still throw your best stuff up there, and you hope that, you know, maybe they can't see the spin on the breaking ball or whatever, but I never trusted it. It's like, you know, I'm not going to give a guy a meatball just because I think he can't see up there, because then they whack 1-0 first inning, you know.
Well, you said when you retired that everyone always asks you about coaching or broadcasting, etc., that you were selfish for so many years in your baseball career that you needed to spend time with your family, friends, etc. Now that you've had a little bit of separation from the game, you still feeling that way?
Yeah, this year has gone by really, really quick. I mean, it's amazing. You know, years obviously would go by faster and faster as you got older in the game. But now that I don't have to be at the park every day, and I don't have a day-to-day routine as far as just being in the same place all the time, doing the same things, the year just flew by. I can't believe it's September already. And I've been writing some music with some guys in LA, and I've been performing with the guys in Cincinnati, and just seeing friends and seeing Pearl Jam, and I've just been all over the place, traveling around, and just kind of, checking off a little bit of the bucket list. And yeah, I just, I don't have it in me right now to tie myself to a paycheck or to showing up at the ballpark every day. People don't realize the coaching staff and even what you guys do. I mean, there's a lot of studying involved here. There's just, if you want to do something well, you're going to have to be prepared. And
right.
It's just really time consuming. And because I was thinking about baseball almost year-round from about 1982 on. You know, I was in the weight room as a very young kid with my father, just squatting heavy and taking supplements and just thinking about the game on a professional level 10 years before anybody else was at my age. You know, guys aren't getting serious about the game until they're 15, 16, 17 years old.
Right.
And so because of that, I just feel like I'm going to need some time. I don't know if that'll ever run out, and maybe I will come back to the game. But I definitely enjoy watching the game. I see most of the Reds games at night. If I don't catch the whole game, I usually see I like to see the starting pitchers. I want to see what they're doing. And so a lot of times, maybe the 5th or 6th inning is where I might migrate away and do something else. But it's still enjoyable to come down to the ballpark and see the guys. But as far as being like, come down here and be a pitching coach or be locked into the game every day, it's going to be tough.
Votto on first base after that excuse me swing and an infield single.
So how many times when you're watching the game and a pitch is thrown, and as the pitch is starting to come to the plate, you're saying at home, no, why did you throw? Don't throw that.
The old it's usually not don't throw that. It's usually like don't throw that right there. You know what I mean? It's like the old backup slider. We've seen that. I've thrown so many of those in my career. You know that homer before it even gets hit. And you know, it's obviously easier when you're not out there on the mound and in the heat of the moment, but I still love to watch the strategy of trying to get hitters out.
That's the best part.
That's the best part of this game.
That's what I love.
Is the mental chess match that's going on between the pitcher and the hitter.
And watching as Suarez, that's a tough look out. Right into the glove of Bodie.
Well, that chess match goes back to your previous conversation about teaching pitching coming up through the minor leagues and the give and take, the adding and subtracting of the speed of the baseball.
Absolutely. You know, I remember being in high A and another pitcher on our staff asking me why I was shaking off the catcher and what I was thinking about from pitch to pitch. And he said to me, oh, I just
throw
whatever the catcher puts down, I just look at the mitt and throw it right there, and with absolutely no thought process at all about how to pick the hitter apart. And I thought, wow, if I had done that, I probably wouldn't even have made it on my high school baseball team. And I also had a conversation just a couple of years ago with a pitcher that, you know, I was talking about trying to get outs without your best fastball, you know, maybe throwing it 86, 87 in there, even though you could get it up to 92, 93. And I asked him, you know, have you ever tried that? And he said every fastball he threw was at max effort. And I thought, wow, man, I mean, there's no way I could have gone 19 and a half years without missing a start. I probably would have had surgery 2 or 3 other times. You know, you just got to realize that the arm is very delicate, and the longer you can stick around with throwing the softer pitches, the longer you can stay in the game.
Well, if you're throwing max effort on every pitch, the hitter will adjust to that. If you're throwing 97, 98 on every pitch, sooner or later, they're going to get to it.
Yeah.
But if you throw 98 on one pitch and 91 on another, that 91 looks like it stops coming to the plate.
Absolutely. And part of it is just getting comfortable in a big league uniform on the mound, feeling like that you belong, you can be yourself, and you can relax as you did in the minor leagues. Because you see guys like Curt Schilling who would throw 91, 92 when guys got on second base, they ramp it up to 97, 98. There's a fear factor involved there to be able to do that when you're young, because a lot of times you don't want to give up a big hit on a BP fastball and feel like, you know,
now I'm in trouble.
Yeah, and everybody's looking at me. Why did I do that, right? My manager thinks, why did I throw that meatball in there? But, you know, over the long haul, in order to last, you're going to have to figure that out. And you've got to push through that uncomfortableness and try to figure out a way to be a little bit more versatile out there with your repertoire.
We've gotten to the point where we want to strike out every batter.
Yeah, and I think that mentality's always been there. I really think it has been. You know, we've talked about velocity. I guarantee you when you were in the minor leagues, people was already harping on the radar gun, right? It's just now that you can look up in every major league stadium and see it on the board.
Middle of the 4th, scoreless, Reds and Cubs. so far.
I think he's thrown the ball very well. We talked about the backdoor slider being a key to this ball game. He's used it non-stop, whether it's been down and away or whether it's been up and away or whether it's been down in the dirt. It sets up that good fastball off the outside corner, and it set up the changeup as well.
Bronson Arroyo still with us. Last year, injury-plagued season for the Reds, but they kept you around to mentor these young guys. Your impressions of Cody Reed going forward and what you saw last year as opposed to maybe what you're seeing here right now?
Yeah, I didn't get to see him start last year very much. He was pitching out of the bullpen. You know, he seemed last year he was very uncomfortable throwing multiple pitches for strikes. Today, he's obviously commanding the zone with multiple pitches, which is, you know, what you need out of a starting guy, and that's why he's getting the opportunity to take the ball every fifth day now. And you know, because this organization it's at a tipping point where you've got 6 or 7 starters who all are not where you want them to be at their full growth. They haven't blossomed completely yet, and nobody's really sure where everyone is going and who's going to be the guys that could lead this rotation into the future. So everybody's getting a little bit of an opportunity, but it's nice to see him getting off to a good start, hopefully getting deep in the ball game, because he doesn't have a lot of pitches so far, even though he's at 60 right now, and that's only because he has 6 strikeouts, but he's cruising easy. And a lot of times when you get into a ball game early with zeros on the board, it can really help your confidence. It makes you feel like you have more energy. You're not exhausted between innings because you haven't been grinding with runners on base.
Yeah, I think the Reds, with those starters you were talking about, are really looking for 1 or 2 of those young kids to separate themselves from the pack.
Right.
We've not seen that yet.
No, you haven't. I mean, look, you know, I did not have special stuff as a pitcher, man. I was out there, you guys know, a lot of times 86 to 88, 89, but I found a way to put up average 20 quality starts almost every season that I towed the rubber. I don't know if anybody's done that here since Johnny Cueto in the last 4 or 5 years, and you've got to be able to have guys have quality starts, which means they're going to be close to 200 innings. If you look at a guy like Mike Leake, hasn't had a fantastic season, but he's 10-9. He's got a 4 ERA or 3.9, but he's at 176 innings with three starts left to go in the season. If you can have 3 or 4 guys do that, you just need 1 guy to be the front of that rotation.
But you and Leake were never afraid of contact. Matter of fact, you forced contact to make a hitter hit your pitch. Sure. Rather than being afraid of the contact.
Right. And part of that
swinging bunt by Addison Russell, and now Cody Reed first and second and nobody out.
Part of that being not fearful of contact is because we didn't have good enough stuff to avoid the contact, right? So
yeah,
you know if you're a boxer and you just can't move real quick and you're going to get punched in the face, pretty soon people start saying, oh, he takes a punch good, right? So because we couldn't get out of the way, it's like, you know, you're going to have to pitch the contact, and you're going to have to find ways to get ground balls, which hopefully gets you deep in ball games with less of a pitch count. Now, if I was a guy who threw 95 in my youth, I'm sure I would have probably been thinking on the strikeout level a little bit more, but that's where I believe you find your superstars, and a guy like Max Scherzer and, you know, a guy like Pedro Martinez and a Dwight Gooden. These are guys who have stuff to strike you out, but they also realize getting deep in the ball game is more valuable than just the strikeouts.
1-0 count to Wilson Contreras. Reed trying to do a little damage control here. A walk and an infield hit. And a 1-1 count.
This is a perfect day to pitch here in this ballpark, because if you look at the flags in center field, obviously the weather's great. It's warm, but it's not too hot. But the wind is blowing in just slightly, which is what you want at this small ballpark here to make it play fair, but also not too much, because if the wind's blowing at your back too much, then it also can affect your breaking stuff. So it's kind of this catch-22 between, is the wind blowing in my face and my stuff moves better off the mound, but it's also going to, a pop fly might get out of here, or the opposite. So it's a really good day to be on the mound.
That was the best part about pitching a candlestick. The wind was blowing at your back, but yet it was swirling enough to where it made the ball dance when it got to the plate.
Reed set to deliver the 1-2 pitch. Here it comes. Suarez steps on the bag, goes to second.
No.
They get the out at third, so the lead runner cut down in Bodie.
Had the double play if he'd gone to first base.
The catcher Contreras running. Suarez elected to go to second base with Addison Russell running that way.
Yeah, that was surprising there because usually a third baseman automatically thinks about going to first base, and he was already moving in that direction.
Yeah.
To come back and throw across his body was very difficult, but maybe somebody was hollering at him down there.
Quite the stretch by Herrera. And a nice dismount. Still first and second, now one out. With Cowboy Jeff Brantley, I'm Jim Day. We're joined by Bronson Arroyo in the booth. All right, what's more nerve-wracking? You talked about your friends with Eddie Vedder and Pearl Jam. They played here recently. You have played a few times with Eddie solo and at Fenway, right?
At Fenway, right.
What's more nerve-wracking, pitching in the playoffs or on stage with Pearl Jam at Fenway Park?
Well, see, the difference is in Fenway Park, you got the whole band behind me, so there's really no way to mess it up, right? Like,
well, that's true.
They would have just turned my guitar off.
That's
you
true.
You can't do that when you're on the mound. It's like, man, just if Buster Posey's at the plate and bases are loaded, you can't just turn yourself off and interject Randy Johnson for a pinch pitcher.
Although you played a solo show with Eddie, right? And you had to play black.
And that was by myself. So
that was all you.
That actually was a little bit more nerve-wracking. But
there you go.
You know, when you think about your life's work, and my life's work was baseball, you know, you feel like you're letting people down when you go into a big game like a playoff game and you don't pitch well. Where musically, you know, I feel like you're playing music for the fans. If you totally botched it, yeah, that would be a disappointment. But it's pretty hard to botch music when you've rehearsed it,
right?
Because there's nobody combating you. But on the mound, you never know what's going to happen. You're pitching against some of the greatest players in the world on a huge stage.
You might make a great pitch and they still hit it out.
Absolutely. And so, you know, the pitching thing was definitely more nervous. But I will say, pitching-wise, when you get out on the mound after the first couple of pitches of a game, all the nerves are gone, and then you're just there to compete. Because if you start getting your butt kicked, then it just turns to anger. Yeah. So you're not nervous anymore, where musically you could get, you know, 4 or 5 songs in and have a song that might be tough to play, or you might be in the middle of a song and forget the second verse. And your brain is just scrambling for the words in the middle of the song. And so there are times when you might be a little bit more nervous on the mound.
Is that when you start humming?
Or you just freestyle it. You just make it up, or you repeat verse 1.
Yeah. That was a big strikeout of Caratini for Reed. Reed stranded 2 in the second, 1 in the third. Trying to strand 2 here in the fourth.
I think you should really think about that country thing. Maybe just throw one in there every once in a while.
Hey, I love a little Keith Urban every now and again.
Is that who if you're going to do a country tune, is that who you're breaking out? I mean, he wants.
Is that because of the hair? Is it the Keith Urban hair thing? Is that?
No, I think it's just well, it's probably the melody of the songs. I think, you know, Lee Brice and him. I just started playing a couple songs that I really enjoyed, but I like old Garth. You know, I think.
Wow. Swing and a miss by Lester. Well, we'll look for you at Bogart's. What's the date again?
November 9th.
Hey, always a pleasure, man. There's an open
Great
spot here.
man.
Join us anytime.
Anytime.
Appreciate it.
That was fun.
Bronson Arroyo here at Wrigley Field. Reds and Cubs still scoreless. Healthcare Orthopedics. You can see the Reds and the Royals on Wednesday, September 26th at half price. Plus, you'll get same-day admission to the Reds Hall of Fame and Museum. For tickets, 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com. Some restrictions apply.
That was fun.
It was. And as you enjoy a Miller Lite, please look forward to the Hold True moment later in today's game. Quite the visit with Bronson Arroyo. He was on a road.
You know, I kept looking at him to see if he was going to take a breath, and I wasn't really sure if he was taking one or not. I thought,
hey, that was good though, man. Just sit back.
He had it rolling. That was beautiful.
Sit back and enjoy. Always great insight. I mean, just being around him for as many years as we were around him, just to pick his brain. Man, I learned so much, and you could see just by listening to him. I learned so much about baseball from Arroyo that I didn't know previous, and as genuine as they come, and anyone that's met him will tell you this. It doesn't matter who you are. You can be a superstar like Eddie Vedder or the average Joe. And when he's talking to you, he'll look you dead in the eye, and it's as if you're the only person in the room. Top shelf. And we appreciate him stopping by. He texted me and said, hey, I'm at Wrigley. I'm like, come to the booth.
Come on up.
Come on with it. And a pitcher's duel here. And it was nice to have former big league pitchers talking pitching with Bronson. One out here in the fifth as Lester continues his role. He gave up an infield hit in the first, infield hit in the fourth, and that is it.
You know what's interesting in hearing Bronson, a guy that just left the game, his comments and thoughts about the art of pitching.
Yeah.
They're the same as they were 20, 30 years ago.
Yep.
It's just a matter of being able to explain it to today's athlete.
He would be the guy to explain it if they would let him turn him completely loose. And that doesn't always happen with coaching staffs. And I'm not saying this coaching staff wouldn't or didn't last year. But if you're going to have to turn him completely loose.
And it's not only the being able to receive the information as a pitcher or an athlete or a baseball player. You can hear it all you want, but you have to put those words into practice in competition. That is the most difficult part. Because there's a trust factor that you have with max effort, and then there's a trust factor that you have to develop as you move along in pitches that are less than max effort.
Well, as we talked to him about, everyone's always asking him, hey, why don't you be a coach and coach these young Reds pitchers? But I got to tell you, and I'm just going to be flat honest here, he was in spring training this year as a retired player, and he was there to instruct as Herrera goes down. Brian Price, the manager at the time, those two very close, and he wanted him in spring training to instruct. And Bronson was there and would show up early with the coaches, and he was supposed to be there about 7 days. After 3 days, he had had enough. It just wasn't in it for him this year. Maybe, like he said, if there's some separation from the game, maybe it'll get back in his blood to coach on a full-time basis. I just don't see it.
You've got to be able to step away and feel the draw of the game. Once you do, you come back, and you come back with some energy and excitement about being back in it. And that doesn't always happen.
Yep.
Doesn't mean that you don't love the game anymore.
Well, he's just a regular guy, and he talked about it. He'd rather hang out with the clubbies than coaches or current players. That's just how he's always been. 0-1 pitch to Dixon. No balls and 2 strikes.
I got you, big boy.
Well, it's very nice to sit by guys that pitch and don't throw. You were that way, Bronson that way, and we got Sam LeCure back in the studio. Guys that know how to pitch, not just throw. Dixon went chasing. Back-to-back punch-outs for Lester in the 5th. He's got 7 of them. For $25.99. Watch every out-of-market regular season game, plus get a free subscription to MLB At Bat Premium. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv to take advantage of this limited offer. Good old Goodwin, as they say here at Wrigley. Each team with 2 hits, no runs. And Cody Reed on the hill for his 5th inning of work. And Reed, a season high 8 strikeouts in this one shy of his career high, which happened back in 2016 at Houston. They'll get 9-1-2 in the Cubs order. Strikeout victim swinging in the 3rd, Ian Happ. To a pitch. Suarez gobbles it up. 1 out. And let's head back to Cincinnati. Brian Gieseslaw standing by with an update. Big series, Brian. Thank you very much for the update. How about Puig? 17 runs at Busch Stadium. The Dodgers. So
5 home runs in 2 days. That's getting it.
Yes, sir. Right now Milwaukee holding down that top wild card spot in the National League, and now the Dodgers in the 2nd spot. All right, the dreaded 3rd time through the lineup here for Cody Reed.
Well, Reed established early in this ball game that he was going to be able to throw his breaking ball on both sides of the plate. So what you've done is you've really taken the Cubs out of their ball game by being so aggressive to the fastball.
1-2. 2-2. How about Arroyo on a 3,000-mile car trip? Tied him up inside, a beauty. Ties his career high, 9th strikeout for Reed.
You know what I picture in my mind seeing Bronson as we watch this slider start in the middle and just disappear under the hands of Almora. I picture him in one of those old Volkswagen Beetle buses traveling around the country with his guitar playing music.
Shorts, t-shirt,
Yeah, the
sandals, or flip-flops.
The Volkswagen bus pulls up and there's 17 folks jump out of it.
I thought our producer Josh Hall liked to drive a lot, but 3,000 miles. He's not done. You say he's going to end up in New York?
That's what he said.
Wow. 0-2 pitch to Bryant. Wind up in the 1-2. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, he got to this point with Almora Jr. and came hard in with a slider. Let's see if that's what Barnhart goes to here.
Barnhart sets up outside, and it's a full count. Payoff. Just got a piece. Sal Romano warming up in the Reds bullpen. Reed about to turn loose pitch number 90. Count holds at 3-2.
Now that's a 3-2 fastball right in the center of the plate. Normally not a great pitch to the likes of Chris Bryant, but because of the slider and the consistency with the changeup within the strike zone early in this ball game, Bryant can't just guess fastball and come unglued. He was late on that pitch.
Got him.
Beautiful.
How about Cody Reed? 5 innings of scoreless baseball. Lefty getting it done at Wrigley. starting pitchers have brought their A game here today. We expect it from John Lester, but Cody Reed has countered Lester. 5 innings, both 2 hits, no runs. And for Cody Reed, that last strikeout, a career high 10 strikeouts for Reed, and it appears his day is done. And it is done. Gabby Guerrero will pinch hit for Reed.
Well, I would say this, it's safe to say this is the best that we've seen Cody Reed pitch.
Yeah. He walked 2, he hit a batter. Al Moore there for out number 1. And we'll flip it to the top, the order, and Billy Hamilton.
I just thought Reed looked much more confident on the mound, much more in control of his secondary pitches. But I mean, when you get to this part of the ball game and you're facing the second and third time through the lineup and you're still able to make pitches and the opponent's still not comfortable with what you're throwing, pretty good job.
To Billy. Hamilton robbed his last time up. Check out our StatCast AI powered by AWS. 42 feet covered by Albert Almora Jr. Rated as a 4-star catch. Robbing Hamilton to end the 3rd. Two balls and a strike to the Reds center fielder.
Even though Hamilton got robbed on that swing of the bat, I would say that in the end, Hamilton is going to come out on the positive end of the rob versus being robbed.
No doubt. The 3-2. And he walked him. And now it gets interesting. That is the first walk surrendered by Lester.
Contreras turned back to home plate umpire Bruce Dreckman. I think Contreras thought that was a strike.
Still talking. Hamilton with 30 steals and 39 attempts, but he's been caught stealing 5 of his last 6. Put the oven mitt on. And a big lead. First pitch strike to Peraza. Jose 1 for 2 here. Infield single in the first. Struck out swinging last time.
Get out there to the cut of the grass and just take off.
There he goes. Throw down by Contreras. Backed up nicely. Boy, what a diving stop by Russell, because Hamilton was a couple steps toward third base.
Billy with a great jump, even though Contreras expected Hamilton to be going there. Looked like he short-armed the ball a little bit, and the ball tailed back towards right field.
31 of them now for Hamilton. And a runner in scoring position for the Reds.
First time the Reds have had a runner at second base since Peraza back in the first inning.
Really dancing around out there. There he goes. Throw down to third. Not in time. Steals second, steals third. At least for the moment. See if the Cubs will want to take a look. Baez saying, don't worry about it. Go on with it. And they are going to review this.
Tag was a little slow from David Bodie.
Well, the fans here getting a look on the big board think he's out. And he's out. That didn't take long at all. Call is overturned, and now 2 outs in the inning. Two balls and a strike to count to Peraza.
I guess when you're used to seeing Javier Baez make a tag in a Cub uniform and how quick he takes the throw and snaps the glove down, maybe everybody looks slow when you've got him in fast forward.
Two pitch. Full count.
It was interesting that Bodie was standing on the second base side of third. He had both feet in between the bag and Billy Hamilton, knowing that Hamilton was coming in head first. And a lot of times you reach that hand down and it'll catch a foot rather than the bag.
Count holds at 3-2. A heck of a throw by Contreras, and particularly with a right-handed batter up.
He took that drop step and threw a laser to third base.
Sure did. Three-two again. Here comes. Out in front. 8 of them for Lester. Middle of the 6th. Exclusive perks and benefits by becoming a Reds season ticket member. Visit Reds.com for details. Well, after 5 brilliant innings by Cody Reed, 10 strikeouts, he will give way Big Sally, Sal Romano on the hill. And he will get 3, 4, and 5. Javier Baez, David Bodie, Addison Russell, at least scheduled to hit. Scoreless game. Game 2 of 3. Thanks for joining us. With Cowboy Jeff Brantley, I'm Jim Day.
Well, I imagine if you're in the Cubs lineup, even though you've had all right-handed batters as far as the position players are concerned, you're probably glad Reed's out of the ball game with 10 strikeouts in 5 innings.
One ball and a strike to Baez. Baez just the 5th player in Major League history to reach 35 doubles, 9 triples, 30 homers, 100 RBIs, and he's got 20 stolen bases. He's got 21, and a diving stop by Herrera, no chance.
Great effort by Herrera. He got to the ball quickly. Dove, made a nice catch, but with the speed of Baez, he was smelling hit all the way. And by the time Herrera got to the baseball, he was well on the shortstop side of second base.
David Bodie, the batter.
And the Cubs will hit and run with David Bodie, especially with Baez at first base. And there is a huge hole on the right field side of second base because Herrera is playing very close to the second base bag.
Baez 21 steals in 30 attempts. So to go along with those power numbers and hitting just below 300, 21 steals to go along with it. Oh, 2 pitch. Suarez, his play is to first, and Votto just gloving it and avoiding the running David Bodie. First out of the inning.
Baez was on the move as the pitch came to the plate, therefore no play at second base.
One out batter, Addison Russell. Now, a quick message from Miami Valley Gaming.
Get ready to get lucky.
A 1.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot of these Cubs batters are backed off the plate from what we saw last year. You wonder if that's the effect of Chili Davis as the hitting coach or exactly what. But I mean, Russell was up on top of the plate last year, as was Baez.
Got him to go around. Big out for Romano.
Great execution of back-to-back pitches from Romano. He came well in with a sinking fastball, actually a running fastball on the hands of Russell. Starts that last breaking ball right in the middle of the plate, and it went straight into the dirt, drawing the swing from Addison Russell.
And now Wilson Contreras.
You look at Baez, you look at Addison Russell, you look at where Contreras is standing. I mean, there's a whole lot of space in here between the feet and the batter's box.
There's Chili. Hitters count at 2-0. 3 balls and no strikes.
Normally when you look in from the pitcher's mound and you can see the entirety of the umpire, because umpires always set over the left shoulder of the catcher. If you can see the entirety of the umpire, especially his legs, you know the hitter is well off the plate.
Needed a strike and got it, and perhaps a liberal one at that at Contreras. Not in agreement.
This is what you call from a pitcher, thank you very much. Especially with a runner standing at second base in a scoreless ball game.
The 3-1 pitch. 3-0 to 3-2.
That's the part of getting a called breaking ball for a strike. The hitter sees that same spin. In the back of his mind, he's thinking that's going to be a strike, and then it bites into the dirt. You draw a swing. But if they all bounce, they don't swing. You've got to show the hitter you can throw it for a strike every once in a while.
There goes a runner from second, grounded through that hole, and the Cubs will take the lead.
That was a phenomenal piece of hitting by Wilson Contreras. Almost in a sacrificial way. You can see him pull his hands in. He knows how big the hole is on the right side of the infield. He didn't even clear his hips there. All he did was get the barrel of the bat to the baseball and push it to the right side. That's big time hitting right there. Big time hitting.
Well, the Cubs dent the plate, and now Victor Caratini at the plate. Switch hitter batting from the left-hand side. Out number 3. Cubs get a run through 6. 1-run game.
September of 2011, a 40-degree night at GABP when Jay Bruce hits a walk-off home run off James Russell and the Cubs in the 11th inning. It was his third career walk-off home run, the first being his first career homer. The second was, we all remember this, the pennant-clinching home run versus the Astros in 2010. Jay Bruce, big day today for the Mets. Jim?
Big thank you very much. It is a 1-0 game in favor of the Cubs.
We talked so many times about pitchers coming out and having a shutdown inning after your team puts a run on the board. Well, the table turns a little bit for the Reds here. You've got 3, 4, and 5 at the plate. The opponent has put a run on the board. Now it's up to the Reds to get back in it with a run of their own.
95th pitch of the game from John Lester is outside to Votto. Votto 1 for 2 here. An excuse me infield single last time up, but it runs his hitting streak to 7 games. Three-2 final last night, and another one-run game brewing here. 1-1 to Votto. Check swing. Appeal. Nope. 3-1. Another check swing, and this one he goes around on. Full count. Payoff. He walked him.
It's a big base runner there for the Reds. Puts Lester in the stretch, but what it also does is it begins the thought process of Joe Madden about his bullpen. I don't know that you're going to go too far over the 100 pitch mark with John Lester.
First pitch to Suarez. Double barrel action in the Cubs pen. Lefty righty cranking it up. Maples the righty, Garcia the lefty.
Saw both of those guys yesterday.
Lester now with a 1-run lead. Trying to join Max Scherzer and Aaron Nola as the only 16-game winners to date in the National League this season. Scherzer has 17 wins, Nola 16. And Lester has reached 15 wins 8 times in his big league career. Twice with the Cubs. He was 19-5 in 2016 with Chicago.
Lester appears a little more concerned about leaving the ball in the middle of the plate than what we saw earlier in the ball game. Trying to be a little bit finer here with the 1-run lead. And we've not seen a whole lot of 3-ball counts from John Lester through the first 6 innings of this ball game, and he's now got hitters back to back in 3-ball counts. 3-1 on Votto, now 3-1 here on Suarez.
Full count. Payoff pitch. One out. 9 of them now for Lester.
Backdoor cutter leads to this pitch. Fastball right on the inside corner. May have cut it just a tad, but a little more velocity than we saw from the previous cut fastballs from John Lester.
First pitch to Phillip Ervin. Slowly hit to third. And a double play. 7 scoreless innings turned in by John Lester. See the Reds take on the Pirates. You can see it for as low as $12. Plus, stick around after the game. The last post-game fireworks show of the season is presented by Adams Recovery. Tickets, visit Reds.com. Sal Romano back on for his second inning of work. Gave up a run in the 6th, and he will face a pinch hitter here. And no, he will not. They announced Ben Zobrist will hit for John Lester. Jim Riggleman, once he's announced, immediately out of the dugout. And he will make a call to the bullpen. It's our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen.
authority of the Cincinnati Reds. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Little YMCA action. It's like Cowboy on a Friday night in the offseason. Jackson, Mississippi.
That ain't got nothing to do with Cowboy. I won't throw that out there right now.
All right, Wandy Peralta versus Ben Zobrist to begin the bottom of the 7th. So 7 innings of scoreless baseball from John Lester. His day is done as Zobrist hitting for the pitcher. 8th spot in the order.
In his 30th start of the year.
Yeah.
Pretty good outing. Good outing by Cody Reed.
Straight into right. Hit well. Dixon fighting the sun and gloves it for out number 1.
Pretty good play by Brandon Dixon.
Yeah.
Not only having to turn and run towards the ivy, you've got that little bend in the ivy out there, and as you mentioned, the sun in his eyes as well.
And now Ian Happ, the Reds have been able to hold him in check so far. 0 for 2. One ball and a strike to Ian Happ. Chop to Suarez. 2 outs. Two-out batter, the leadoff man, Albert Almora Jr. 0 for 2 and a walk for Almora. One ball and a strike. Just foul. Ooh. The depth that this Cubs team can run out there. And you've got the likes of Albert Almora Jr. getting spot starts. Tommy La Stella leading baseball in pinch hits. And on a day like today, you've got Daniel Murphy on the bench. You've got Anthony Rizzo on the bench. You've got Kyle Schwarber on the bench. When Murphy is at second base and Baez is at short, you got Addison Russell coming off the bench on those days. Tough team and lineup to deal with.
2-2.
Peralta turns in a 1-2-3 seventh. Still a one-run game at Wrigley. Boys, thank you very much. We will look forward to that dynamic duo after this one here on Fox Sports Ohio. Tucker Barnhart looks at ball one. New pitcher is lefty Justin Wilson. So lefty here. Lester goes 7 scoreless, 9 strikeouts. There were 108 pitches, and now the lefty Justin Wilson. We'll get Barnhart, Herrera, Dixon here in the 8th. Caratini takes it himself. 1 out. After Reds Live, college football. The Hilltoppers of Western Kentucky are in Louisville. Face the Cardinals. You can see it right here on Fox Sports Ohio.
Now, you were talking earlier about all of the offensive prowess of the Cubs and their ability to bring up thunder, whether it be from the right or the left side. It's been pitching these last 2 days.
Yep.
Now, granted, Ian Happ had the big home run last night, but it was not a slugfest. And it has definitely been anything but a slugfest here today.
And a bunt by Herrera, and perfectly placed. Got it in the air, but that bad boy just deadened when it hit the grass.
All about placement.
And Jim Riggleman's going to go to his bench. He will send lefty Scott Schebler to the plate against the lefty Justin Wilson.
Well, if you're Schebler here, you almost have to guard against trying to get it all back with one swing of the bat. Schebler hits left-handed pitching well. More times than not, he's shooting the ball right over the top of the shortstop's head with left-handers on the mound.
.330 versus lefties. One ball and a strike. One and two. Two balls and two strikes. Two pitch. Got him. 10th red to strike out here today.
Contreras had set away. The fastball is in on the inside corner. And after a breaking ball away and a fastball up and away, that turned out to be a pretty good pitch.
Back-to-back pinch hitters here for the Reds. Curt Casale. Tying run at first base and now 2 outs. Three plate appearances for Casale versus Justin Williams. 1 for 2 and a walk. In on the hands and popped up. That's Baez. Tying run stranded at first. Middle of the 8th, 1-0 Cubs.
For the big game here tomorrow. It'll close the 3-game set with the Cubs. It's brought to you by Ray St. Clair Roofing. We get things started at 1:30 with the Reds live. And the Prop Bowls tomorrow, Luis Castillo's coming off a really nice start against Jose Quintana. Quintana's 13-9 and shade under 4 with the ERA. And again, Reds live at 3:30. Game starts at 2:20. And the big news coming out of Chicago today, Michael Lorenzen in the starting rotation again. He will pitch on Tuesday for Tyler Mahle, who's nursing a fatigued shoulder, and he goes up against Chase Anderson. That's Tuesday in Milwaukee. Gentlemen.
Big thank you very much. Last road trip of the season. Through Chicago, through Milwaukee, as you mentioned, and then 4 in Miami. Chris Bryant facing Jared Hughes, bottom of the 8th. Hughes, the 4th pitcher of the game. Jim Riggleman. Continues an outstanding season. 1.87 ERA. And Scott Schebler has remained in the game. He's in right field. One ball, 2 strikes to Bryant. Castillo here tomorrow. DeSclafani the start Monday in Milwaukee. And as Pick said, Michael Lorenzen on Tuesday, Matt Harvey on Wednesday. 2-2. Got it. Twelfth strikeout for Reds pitching this afternoon.
Slider from Hughes had a little more downward movement than left to right, or right to left, I should say.
And now Baez. Infield single in the 6th, scored the game's only run. And swinging for the fences. 0-1.
Seems like more times that Baez, as we get later in the season, when he comes to the plate, these folks here start to chant MVP.
The numbers he's put up, I mean, you could just read them off, and we read off some of them in this game. Also the first player in franchise history with 35 doubles, 30 homers, 100 RBIs, and 20 stolen bases in a season.
Well, that 20 stolen bases is the kicker.
Yeah. He's second in the league in total bases, first in RBIs.
Guy's got 9 triples. That's ridiculous.
2 balls and 2 strikes.
For a kid, when he came up, everything was pull, pull, pull. We've seen him shoot balls down the right field line. We've seen the bunt that he's used to his advantage. I'm not sure that there's anything this kid can't do on a baseball field.
Has a rocket arm. Saw that here last night. He cut down Suarez at the plate.
On an off-balance throw.
Yep. Still trying to figure out Hughes, though. Payoff. Broke it back. And Baez busting it down the line, but Peraza able to retire Baez, 2 outs.
You know, there are a lot of guys, Jim, that you hear the sound of the shattered bat They see the ball hit to the shortstop, and they just kind of Cadillac it down the line.
Yep.
Not Javier Baez. That was a pretty close play at first base, and he made it that way by his hustle.
2-out batter David Bodie. Barnhart wants it outside, and that's where he puts it. 1-1. One and two. Top of the order for the ninth for the Reds. Hughes trying to keep it at a 1-run game. Hamilton, Peraza, Votto due up in the ninth for the Reds. Swing and a miss. Hughes retires him in order in the eighth. To the ninth we go. And a trip for two to see the Reds at spring training in Goodyear, Arizona. Each donation of $25 equals one entry into the sweepstakes. For rules and entry, visit reds.com/spring sweepstakes. Some restrictions apply. Pinch hitter Jim Riggleman is going to pull back Billy Hamilton, and he will send Scooter Gennett to the plate to lead off the ninth. And why not? The league's leading hitter. And the Reds need at least one. And he will face Jesse Chavez. First pitch swinging is Gennett. Ball hit well to left, but on the track is Ian Happ for out number one. Last night they called on Jorge De La Rosa to close it down. Pedro Strop out for the rest of the regular season. Jesse Chavez gets the call here.
Pretty good numbers out of the bullpen for the Cubbies.
He's 3 out of 4 in save opportunities this season. And quickly ahead of Peraza, no balls and 2 strikes. Reds came up a run short last night, trying to avoid that here today. And Peraza reaches base. Nice piece of hitting. And it's our Indeed player resume. It is now a 10-game hitting streak for Peraza after that infield hit in the first. Longest active streak in the National League. And his second longest this season for Peraza. So the Reds put the tying run at first base, 1 out. The batter will be Joey Votto. And a meeting on the mound. Contreras in most of the infield. One change defensively for the Cubs. Anthony Rizzo is at first base. And there he is, the hold on Peraza. And now here comes Joe Madden, and that was just
to give Randy Rosario a bit of extra time to throw in the bullpen.
Yep. So a little strategery, if you will.
I like that word.
I did not make that word famous. Chavez will leave. In comes Rosario. Lefty-lefty matchup, game on the line. These two clubs. Reds have put the tying run at first base in the form of Jose Peraza. 1 out. Joey Votto at the plate. Randy Rosario on the mound. Votto 1 for 2 here today. Infield single. He has walked. First pitch to Votto. Inside corner for a strike. Oh, 1. Big lead over at first for Peraza.
Anthony Rizzo now playing at first base.
in the air, left center field. To the track. And caught by Almora. Gave it a ride. With a long out. The Reds are now down to their final out.
Fastball up middle. Votto got underneath it just a bit. It's 2 warning track fly balls. One off the bat of Jeanette. One there from Votto. Looks like bullpen by committee for Joe Madden here today.
When you've got 2 guys that usually close out games, both out with injury, this is what happens. Joe Madden going to the bullpen. 2 outs into the 9th. Reds trying to come off the mat here in the 9th. 2 outs, tying run at first base. Suarez at the plate. Steve Cishek, he said, on the mound. And 41,196 to their feet. 73rd appearance for Cishek. First pitch swinging, slow grounder. And that's the old ball game. Reds are shut out and lose by a run for the 2nd straight day to the Cubs. 1-0 their final score. We'll be back with more in a moment.